Good morning. I hope everyone is having a nice day today. My name is María Paulina, and I am going to start with my method, which is the communicative language teaching. Without more to add, let's begin. We are going to start with the approach. The main purpose behind the communicative language teaching method is usually to prepare the students to be confident communicators in the different real-life context. This is through their repetitive oral practices and student cooperation with their classmates. In communicative language teaching, the communication is the end and is meaning to be the total teaching method. The theory of language, we are going to start, and two with the theory of the learning. In the theory of language, the communicative competence entails knowing how to use the language for a range of different purposes and functions as well with the following dimensions of the language knowledge, which is most of the time knowing how to produce and understand the different types of text. They can be narrative, reports, interviews, conversation, or the actual types of books you can get from any kind of set in the world. Other one is knowing how to better use the language according to the setting and the participants, which is how to use the formal and the informal speech and know when how to use it. Since in the communicative language teaching, it is very practice the communication. This can be a very useful thing so you can manage as a student to implement your capability of knowing how to adapt your language even in the formal context when you are in them. While in the theory of learning, the communicative language teaching is grounded in the belief that language learning is the most effective when it mirrors the process of natural language acquisition. This theory emphasizes so much the importance of communication as the central goal of language learning. This means that in the communication is not only of the currency, but in the fluent, and even when you want to communicate something, you need to use to your corporal language when you're doing the sign language or even when just you're doing the practical. In the role of the instructional material, it is very important to utilize the variety of media and formats that can help to cater the different learning styles and preferences. This is integrated the visual, the auditory, and the interactive material support, so it can be fulfilling in all of the types of learning that the students can have, since they can vary very much. The instructional materials often include task-based activities that require learners to use the language to accomplish the specific goals. These tasks simulate real-life communication situations and promote the application of language skills in the authentic context. This means that you can put a student in example. The methods, you can provide a task-based activities and put like in an activity. This man is going to buy a ticket to the bus. He needs to tell to the person who is driving the bus that he needs an extra ticket since he's bringing somebody else. So the person who drives the bus can give him another ticket. With this, you are given an instruction of a specific context situation, so the student can manage to think, oh, that can be me, that can happen to me. So the activities are fulfilling and it can help them even outside of the school. In the objective, the central aim of the communicative language teacher is to equip the learners with the ability to communicate successfully in the real-life situations. This, of course, involves focusing on the practical, the use of language, and for various purposes such as expressing opinions, negotiating, giving, and even the receiving of the information. And of course, we have to add to the participation in the social interactions they have out of the school. In the syllabus, this aims to expose the learner to language as it is naturally used in real-life situations, as I said before. The authentic materials such as the newspaper, the article, the advertisements, or the videos incorporated can help the learner to be more exposure to genuine language use. With this, we meant like not using only the material that is in the English task material in general, like in the books we used to have in the school. Since in this we can say like, of course, you're not going to buy like 10,000 of bananas in the store. Of course, that is very unrealistic. So in this kind of method, you can use tasks based on more realistic situations, so the learner can mentalize more easily, and in that way, they can be more fluent and even the currently of the communication. In the type of activities, the activity's purpose mostly is the implementing of the role plays, the problem-solving tasks, and the real-life simulation that requires the student to use the language in the context. This is more to achieve any specific goal or in a specific task they are given. Like I said before in the example of the bus, the student is going to be given a situation that he can or she can relate to. So it is more easily to state in that and to help the learner to have an autonomy, to think by itself, to have like an own opinion of what he or she is going to do. In this, we are going to talk, well, about the student role and the teacher role. In this, the student role is more actively taught, we could tell, because they have to participate very actively in the communicated activities, the discussions, the tasks, and even take care of the roles in the communicators, even using the language for the real purposes, rather than simply an academic exercise. They have to mentalize more out of the school, since they have to use these kind of methods more to put themselves in the situations that they can use actually this kind of knowledge to use outside of the school and not just in the activities. So the school can bring some of the new acquired knowledge out of the classroom. In the teacher role, the communicative language teaching methods, the teacher role is more a facilitator guide rather than lecturer or an authority figure. Well, in this, the teacher creates like a type of environment that encourages the meaningful situations and provides support for language learning. And of course, it guides the students through the interactive activities so they can talk with each other, to even talk themselves, and even have a cooperative help between them. Given the teacher can give the feedback as well as the classmates that work together. That is an easier way to even give the feedback, just than having the teacher doing all by herself or himself. To finally conclude, the procedure in this kind of method is to involve a series of steps and activities, as I said before, to prioritize the meaningful communication and language use. So the main goal is for the students to finally create an interactive and engagement learning environment, so they are more interested in the language rather than academic, in more in a social, and even when they are out of the school context in a real life situation. That was all for me. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you are keeping having a nice day.